everybody, Mike Pfeiffer with Pfeiffer Hobby Supply. Today I'm going to do a little update 107. Not because I have done anything visually to the layout, but because I'm going to show you or tell you and partially show you how I do my, quote, once a year cleaning. That doesn't always take place once a year, but thereabouts. I kind of do a thorough cleaning of the layout, usually in the fall after the dusty season is all over, the summer and all that, which I think this is about time. So, and as you notice, I got this happy face. I went down to Mexico to get my teeth worked on, as you guys saw in the bullet video, or the train video that I just did with the bullet in it. And immediately upon returning, the temporary that she put on fell off. So I've got to go back down there and get a post put in and get a new cap put on there. So you'll have to look at me like this, like a, well, lack of a better word, an old-time hillbilly, I suppose. But anyway, hope you like this video today, and let's get with it. Okay, so I've already cleaned the track out here, so I'm just going to explain to you today basically how it was done and show you what I did to accomplish what I have done. As you guys may have seen in previous videos, these are the track cleaners that I make. This pad is cut out of a long reach micro engineering cleaning pad. I buy one of those long reach pads and I can make and remake about 10 or 15 of these. I have that one, I have one with a fatter stick, and I have one with a very thin stick that is more flexible for going inside of tunnels and so forth. And you can see on this one here that this is the one, this thin one is the one that I used to clean all of the track out here today by hand, okay? I go around, I do all the top of the rails and turnouts and everything, and you can see that I wind up getting a couple of grooves in the top of it that allow me to keep centered on the rail as I go along. Initially, when I start out with the pad, it's just generally flat, and I get a lot of slipping off the track and so forth as I go. But I don't have a problem catching on all the turnouts because it does not have slots in it. So once I get past all the turnouts, then I start digging in with the point of it, and it creates those two slots that you see, or gouges that you see. This one here has obviously been used front and back for that purpose, the thick one. And the thick one I use in tunnels because I can get it in there and I can get some downward pressure on it by pushing down on it. I do tend to use that one in the tunnels. This is a medium one. You can see that I haven't really used this one a whole lot because it does not have the grooves in it yet. Pardon me. This particular batch of this microengineering cleaner that I got seems to be a little tougher, a little harder. Maybe it's a little older, I don't know. But this one I like, works well because the material on it doesn't come off in the middle of the track. Some of them, sometimes you get them and they're a little bit on the soft side, different manufacturers and stuff. And as you go along the track, pieces of the pad itself come off and wind up getting embedded in turnouts and so forth. So that moves us on to the next phase. Okay, once I've used the hard pad on all the track out here, we have two choices. This is one that I have used in the past. This is a Tomix vacuum car. Well, it's actually a track cleaning car in general, but I don't trust it to do anything but vacuum the track. It's kind of an expensive proposition just to go around and vacuum the track. I will say, however, that once it's equipped with a decoder, it will pick up a lot of stuff that you don't even see out there. Now, that being said, let me show you what else we can use to do that same thing. Okay, now let's move on to the next thing. If you guys, well, for those of you who do watch the videos all the time, you've seen this guy. My vacuum that has the little tubes that pick up. This is good for going around the track, although it is a little bit big and a little bit clunky if you're going to be right on the track. It's somewhat wider than the track, so as you're running it along, it tends to disperse open and it will pick up everything, but it's just a little bit wide and a little bit clunky. Let me show you what else I use here. I found out about these mini vacs when we had a sewing machine store. Yeah, we were involved in Husqvarna Viking sewing machines at one time. But nevertheless, I found out about these little vacuum attachments. This is the one that I like in particular. I can hook this to my shop vac, and then I can take this around the layout, vacuum the track off. However, this will suck up people and stuff, so you don't want to get too close to things. But any of these three methods will work. A mini vac or one of these, and I don't remember what these things are called. I told you to look them up on the internet. It's a tube vacuum attachment. I don't know if that's the proper word, but you'll find it. The mini vac or the Tomix car does a good job of cleaning up stuff on the inside of the rail. That is the second step that I use. Now let's go on to the third step. Okay, for the next step of my yearly cleaning, once I have scrubbed the track by hand, and I have vacuumed off the track, I use this CMX car. This is probably, in my opinion, and I've told you guys before, the best track cleaning car that money can buy. Yeah, they're expensive, but apparently the guy who makes them knows that, and knows that they're the best car out there. But basically I fill that with alcohol. I don't use Goo Gone or anything like that in it. It's strictly alcohol, 91% alcohol. I set it to about a 1 per second drip, and I push that around all of the track that I can with the locomotive, and then I push it through any track that's a pain in the neck, like the yard here, by hand, and just clean the top of the track the best I can with the alcohol. Now let's move on to the next step. Okay, I know some people are going to cringe, but the final step that I do one time a year is I use RailZip. Now, some of you probably haven't heard of this. I don't know what's in it, but when you use it, you need to follow the instructions, which on my bottle are missing off the back because the labels come off. But nevertheless, people say it is nothing more than automatic transmission fluid. I don't know if it is or isn't. It's a red color. But if you read the directions on the back, it says to lightly put it on and to wipe the residue off. But let me show you how I put it on. Okay, I believe the instructions tell you to put it on with a cotton, say a piece of a t-shirt or something. However, I use this Centerline car. It's an old Centerline car. I just take and turn it up and put a couple drops on the pad, rotate the pad a little bit, and put some on the other side. This pad, as you can see, soaked that stuff in right away, simply because that's all that's on this pad. And this, if some of you maybe aren't familiar with this particular Centerline car, they're not making this one anymore. They make a wide, kind of a fat one, uses a little bit different roller. But anyway, you tie twine around that roller there. And since I don't worry about it cleaning track too much, but only applying the RailZip, I just tow it in the back of a train. And I'll tow it around the layout 3 or 4 times on the main line. Then I move the trains that are out there, that are on sidings, to the main line and do the sidings. Then I bring it down into the yard, and I have done all of the yard, the lead coming into the city and yard, and I have done all around the loop. And as you can see, I have it on the end of a train. And let me try and back up here. it is on the end of this train being pulled by the F units down there. I ran it all the way in from the main line down. Let me get on the other side here and slowly turn you around. I ran it down underneath the tunnel over there and around the loop over there and all the way back around the tunnel, back here facing outward, which basically in effect, as I have said in previous video, turns the train around and the train is ready to go back out, and that rail and this rail here is where I came in are all clean. All I have to do is the rest of the rails in the yard, and I can just I'll use that car by hand as I do on the CMX car to apply that stuff. I do not bother going out and wiping the rail off. If you were applying it with a cloth or something that you couldn't regulate very well, and by the way, this little this little Centerline car here, if I can lift it off the caboose and get it back on the track, you can see that the little roller just rolls in there. And I find that this roller rolling around with just lightly saturated with that oil applies enough of it to the track that I don't need to go back and wipe it off. I don't get an accumulation on my wheel sets. I don't get any of that stuff. I don't lose traction going up my 20% or 22% grade. I don't have any traction issues. There's been all kinds of talk about this stuff. There's all kinds of stuff, NOx and all that. I have not tried any of that stuff. This is my way. So this is the last step in cleaning the track yearly, is to put that little Centerline car out there and apply a light coating of the RailZip. You saw by that bottle I have that I've had it for a while. I would estimate that I have had that bottle 10 years. And it's still 95% full. So you don't use a whole lot of it. And if you do, you're making a mistake. So let me just take you around and show you how I had to shuffle locomotives. I don't know, just kind of explain to you what I've done, and show you a couple of other cleaning methods or things that I do during the year. Okay, so when I was cleaning the main line, I had two trains parked over here on this inside siding. I had to do a lot of train shuffling without taking trains off the track, but I brought them up here and parked them on the mine siding. After I had gone through the mine siding and cleaned it and done my process through the mine siding, then I ran these up here and parked them in there, and they just barely fit. I also will tell you that I go into all the sidings, such as the mine up there, and I clean those tracks individually, doing the same method. When I got down here, this train that's on the outside was actually on the inside siding. I cleaned the outside first, backed that train up, moved it onto the outside siding, and ran the cleaning train, per se, around. That allowed me to move 3 trains out of the way to get, excuse me, let me back up, this cleaning train out, the F7s there, with my little car on the back to do the final applications. By the way, I also used this whole entire train pushing the CMX car. I vacuumed the track by hand, but if I was using my vacuum car, I would have been pushing my vacuum car with that same train. It's good to have multiple locomotives on there, especially if the track's been sitting for quite some time, because sometimes it gets a little finicky and doesn't want to run right. So I always put multiple locomotives. I either use my 2 E units or at least 3 F units to get it around there. Now, during the year, what I the car I actually prefer is that one right between the trees there with the masonite pad. Simply because it's really non-abrasive. However, it does move dust and dirt off the track. I do have several, you guys have seen them, I have several with the cleaning pad on the bottom. I do also use those. They tend to be a little more abrasive, and if you don't keep them clean and never use alcohol on them, and I've said that before, but let me take you over here and show you one instead of sitting here blabbing. My track cleaner cars are in this drawer. But as you see, they're a little more abrasive and they tend to pick up more stuff. And you can tell the direction that this car was being pulled by the black stuff. This end right here where my finger is tapping was the forward part of the car. So it was picking up most of the crud on the front edge of the pad, pushing the back of the pad up and pulling the front of the pad down. Once it starts sticking like that, it's best to take that pad and take it out of the car and then run it on, not run it, but scuff it back and forth on some medium grit sandpaper until you have a nice gray finish. Once you do that, you will find that it'll stay that way for a little while, but tends to get back kind of ugly looking. I can't remember the Aztec, I believe, was the manufacturer of these cars. They are kind of neat to pull around once in a while during the year, simply because they have a little offset roller there that tends to scrub track, and you can see that it works because it's got some black strips on it. It also has a little brush right here, and it also has a magnet right here. So it will pick up magnetic stuff as it goes around. It will kind of sweep the track, if you will, and the roller works relatively well. I don't use this a whole lot or real often because it's a heavy car. So I don't leave it in a train. I do run it once in a while. And as you can see, I have a whole myriad of cleaning products. And we won't get into cleaning locomotive wheels per se, but I prefer a Rix cleaner. I do have one of the Woodland Scenics. It does work. I prefer to put alcohol on it when I do use it. But for the majority, I have two of these Rix wheel cleaners. You merely set them on the track. They conduct power up through the bristles here and do a real good job of cleaning wheels off as long as you don't have any traction tires. I keep two of them here in case I need them. Have a bad order pad in case I have something that breaks. Got my magnets here in case I need to turn off any passenger car lights, which I don't normally use. Oh, another thing too. I have in the past used these little dust bunnies. They're kind of cool to hook onto an axle of say a caboose or something and just let it drag around and pull dust off the track. They do work. As hokey as they look and as little pressure as they apply onto the track, they do seem to keep a relatively good amount of dust off. I don't have a big dust problem in here, so I don't use them obviously very often. I have another open pack here somewhere. But anyway, that's basically the steps I take for a once-a-year cleaning on my entire layout. So I'm going to show you one more thing before I leave, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Okay, before I go, I just wanted to show you this model I've been working on. This is a Tamiya, it's a 1999, I believe, Toyota GT1 class. They never were able to finish Le Mans or anything with this car. It was one of those hard luck cars that always seemed to, some insignificant thing broke on it every time they tried, and they just kind of gave up. But I always thought the look of the car and the streamlined lines of the car, everything on the car means and does something. You don't see any holes or anything on this car that does not perform a function. Let me take the back off and I'll show you the engine compartment. Okay, here's the back off the car. I think you can see some of the detail in there. Okay, it takes a while for the camera to focus. I really enjoyed this kit. I don't know if you can see inside the windows or not. You can see the seat belts on the seat and so forth in there. Mostly my reflection. But anyway, that's the one I just built. I've showed you everything else. Nothing else going on in here, although I've cleaned up my messes in here. I did, if you notice in the old videos, I think some of you probably realized that that shelf leaned downward. And I put some shims behind it and got it straightened up, man. I thought my eyes were deceiving me, and I thought that thing was level, and it was not level. But anyway, fix that. Nothing else going on in here, so I'll let you guys go. Well, gang, hope you liked that video. Just trying to give you a little rundown. Everybody seems to like track cleaning videos. This isn't necessarily a how-to on track cleaning. It's just what I do once a year. And as I said, you know, a lot of people aren't into the products, some of the products and so forth. But that's okay. This is the way I do it, and this works in my room. So I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.